Hello, welcome or welcome back to the channel. I'm Franny.Reacts, and this is my review of episode 1 of season 2 of House of the Dragon. When you get a chance, take a look at my review of season 1 of House of the Dragon. I go over a few highlights during the season to get us ready for season 2. And season 2 is here, and I'm so excited. I know you guys are too. We ended off on a very negative note, but I predict in season 2, at least for this episode, it's going to be a slow build. In Game of Thrones, it took a while to get to the Battle of the Bastards, right? And it took a while to get to the Long Night. So I think for season 2, we're going to get a few slow episodes that kind of build us up to the actual war, which is fine because I love when there's something to anticipate when we're watching these shows. Like, subscribe, share, do all the things. Thank you very much. So let's get started. Episode 1 is titled A Son for a Son. Okay, so forget what I said about a slow start. Apparently someone's son is going to die. They're not playing around. Okay, so we can at least expect that somebody's son is going to die. The episode begins in the north with Jacaerys speaking to the Starks about them joining forces with Rhaenyra for her claim to the throne. Unfortunately, during that time, Jacaerys receives a raven with the news of his brother Lucerys' passing. I'm hoping for his sake that the raven did not give details about how it is that he passed, but the news was shared with him, and of course it was devastating. He immediately leaves to go home. Back at Dragonstone, Devil Piss is, of course, looking for vengeance, because what else would he do? As Rhaenys makes her way back to Dragonstone, he says, okay, well, we need to go back out and do what we need to do. What do we need to do? We need to unalive Viserys and Aemond Targaryen immediately. Rhaenys, just like she did when she came up out of the basement during the coronation, says, that's not a good idea in general, number one. And number two, have you discussed this with your queen? It would be more prudent of him to speak to Rhaenyra before he does anything. This is still fresh. Rhaenyra is still grieving the loss of her son. This is not a time to be flying over to King's Landing to be attacking other people's dragons. Like, you really need to be strategic about how you make your next move. In the next scene, we have Corlys, still recovering, still limping from his injuries. We are introduced to a new character, Alan. Alan apparently is the one that pulled Corlys from the water to save his life. I don't know what Alan means to us just yet, but his character is going to be important. He seems very like he doesn't want to really take credit for saving Corlys's life. He's just like, that's part of my duty in serving this house. No big deal. Anyone here would have done it. Very humble, oddly humble. So we'll see what his character brings later on in the season. Cut to Aegon at home, and he's rushing into the room where the kids are. His wife, who's also his sister, Helena, she says that, the boy is off doing something. Go to the small council on your own. Why do you need this boy to disrupt his day so you can go play around? As he's leaving, she says, I'm afraid. And he's like, afraid of what? And she says, the rats. There are no rats in this room, like not a one. As usual, Helena is on another stratosphere. Like, this woman is connected to spirits and energies that we simply cannot fathom. And so her fear of the rats is valid, but we don't know that just yet. And then we cut to the part where Alicent is preparing for the small council meeting as well. However, her preparation includes being serviced by Kristen Cole in the middle of the day. Ain't no curtains drawn. They're fully clothed. They probably didn't even lock the door. It was giving very pull your panty to the side, let me slide through. It seems so transactional. Like, what is going on here? This is not romantic in any stretch of the imagination, which tells me that this is something that they clearly have been doing for a while. Like, this is their usual routine. We sneak and do this thing. You make me happy. You serve me. You're loyal to me. And it is what it is. So, in seeing this scene, at first I was appalled. Like, this is the same woman with her self righteous attitude that had an issue with Rhaenyra sleeping with him or anyone else for that matter before she got married. And now here she is rolling around with this dude. So it's just like, girl, isn't the pot calling the kettle black? Like, what's happening here? I had to think about it again. Like, all right, this is a woman who's lost her husband. Prior to his passing, he had been ill for a very long time. And a woman has needs. So, why not get those needs met by a young, hot, stupid, loyal man? And even as she's doing it, she's telling him, this needs to be the last time that we do this kind of thing. I guess she's having a moment of guilt. And he's like, yeah, okay. Which was an excellent response. Like, girl, why are you saying no? Like, this is something that you clearly enjoy. You enjoy this person. No one else is servicing you. So just enjoy it. But again, this is Allison. Like, I think she's grappling with these sins that she's engaging in being with him. And he, as Lord Commander, definitely shouldn't be engaging in these acts with her. So this secret is kind of big. Little Aegon comes to the meeting. I don't even know that child's name. It doesn't matter. Comes into the meeting, wreaking quiet havoc for the Lannister guy, playing with his ball on the table. It was so cute, but also really annoying. And the Lannister guy is like, put it trying to maintain his composure. That was too funny. Aegon is there trying to strategize. Of course, he's not thinking strategically at all. And luckily, Otto Hightower, who I did not like and who I think I might learn to like, is giving him advice. Now, I only say that because I think back to Jaime Lannister and his story arc in Game of Thrones. And he went from a very unlikable character to a very likable character. And because I feel so strongly about not liking Otto, I really just feel like they're going to do something to his character. Something's going to happen to make us feel differently about him. There he is, trying to be the hand, trying to guide Aegon. And Aegon's not having it. And again, Aegon does not belong on the throne. Like, what is the problem? Is not Rhaenyra, okay? The problem is Aegon, all right? The minute you get rid of Aegon, get him off the throne and put Rhaenyra there, everything will be fine, right? That's the strategy you should be implementing, but whatever. After the council meeting, Alicent is, going to her quarters, and she's met by Fuckfoot. That's what I'm calling him now, because beat my meat to your feet is kind of long. I think Fuckfoot, it works really well. So that's what we're calling him moving forward. A character that I do not like. I do not anticipate changing my mind about this character. He is very unlikable, and I think he will stay that way for me. He hobbles his way over to Alicent, clearly feeling some type of way, because it's evident that he went from being the number one informant to being the number two informant. But why wouldn't he? Like, in order to get information, all she has to do is ask Kristen Cole. And when she's feeling ready for some action, she gets to sleep with him. Fuckfoot can't do any of those things. Like, you have to do something to get information from him. And he's ugly. Don't nobody want to fuck him. So it's no comparison. Like, Fuckfoot, you are always going to lose. If doing anything against Kristen Cole, the odds are not in your favor, okay? You're never going to win. Anyway, he rolls up on Alicent and he's like, I have some news for you. I've been going through, staff, interviewing people, trying to find out who's loyal to the crown and who's not. Alicent says, what are you doing with the people who are not loyal to the crown? Fuckfoot says, they're no longer with us. Child, who put you in charge of HR? What? What are you doing? Oh my God. Like, how do you ask someone that? Like, hey, are you loyal to the crown? I could take it or leave it. Yeah, mhm. What? I can't even imagine how this conversations went. But anyway, the part about this that makes it disturbing is that now that he's unalived a portion of the staff, he's replaced all those staff members with people of his choosing, which to me gives very much little birds, like Varys's little birds. These people are going to be keeping an eye on what's happening in the castle, what's happening with Alicent, and reporting back to him. This is not a good idea. Like, I really see this going left almost immediately. Now we get to the really heartbreaking portion of the episode. Rhaenyra has been on the hunt for her son's remains. She finally finds them. It's heartbreaking to see her grieving the loss of her son, the pain that she's going through. I mean, it's a lot. This is a lot for her to handle while she's also trying her best to get herself on the throne. Now that she's found his remains, now that she's somewhat at peace with this, she announces to her small council, find me Aemon Targaryen. That makes sense. That is the son for a son. Isn't that the name of the episode? Yep, go get him. Perfect. Perfect. I don't know how you're going to do this, but good luck trying. Now we get to see Aegon in action while he's on the throne, acting like a king to the best of his ability. Of course, his hand Otto is there to support him. People are coming up with petitions. They want things. They need things. They've been harmed in some way by the crown. Aegon, shockingly, was very generous with the person who was asking for replenishing their flock of sheep. Otto has to come over and whisper in his ear, like, you might not want to say yes to this guy, because if word gets around that you were kind to him, then everyone is going to come here asking for a handout, and you're going to be in a position to have to say yes. Don't do that. And plus, what it is that he lost is something that we need. If we're going to keep these dragons fed, we need his sheep. So he has no choice but to give them to us. You have to think about that before you say yes or no. Aegon is no king. He goes, I changed my mind. No, we're not going to give you back your sheep. Next. Why are you there? Why are you there, Aegon? Oh my God. The next guy comes up. He's a smith, and he's speaking on behalf of the other smiths in King's Landing. They apparently are making a lot of weaponry for Aegon and for the war, and they've not been compensated for all of the materials that they're putting into making these things, the amount of time that it takes to make these things. Like, they're not getting paid at all. Aegon says, we'll pay you handsomely. Here comes Otto again. Aegon is exhausting, not missing a beat. Fuckfoot rolls up on Aegon and says, Otto bosses you around a lot. That's the hand's job, but he was your father's hand. Perhaps people in the kingdom would view you differently if you had a different hand. There he goes, planting seeds. Like, oh my God. Aegon is just so impressionable. That's a nice way to put it. He's impressionable. He takes that advice to heart. Fuckfoot never misses a beat. Going back to Rhaenyra's demand for Aemon Targaryen, Devil Piss comes up with the idea. This is his thing. Like, he needs guidance. Like, you cannot just give him a command without telling him exactly how to go about accomplishing the goal. Left to his own devices, Devil Piss will come up with the most ridiculous, dangerous, life-threatening schemes that he can imagine. And those are the things that he wants to effectuate. And this task is no different. Instead of just going to find Aemond or perhaps to trap Aemond, he decides to send someone into his home to unalive him in his sleep. Yeah, that's going to work. Of course, it doesn't work at all. Using the white worm, he goes out and finds two guys to go into the castle to find Aemond and unalive him. He finds a rat catcher and one of his old boys from when he had the gold cloaks running around town, roughing people up. He chooses the roughest one of all of them to do the unaliving. So the two of them pretending to be rat catchers, going into the castle to find Aemond and do what they need to do. They managed to get through. Side note, they actually walked through the throne room while Aegon and his little buddies were sitting there drinking, talking, and laughing. I was just like, what the heck? You're not paying attention at all to what's going on right in front of your face. They make their way past Aegon to the chambers where Helena and the kids are. Not Aemond's bedroom, but whatever. At some point, I guess they discovered, like, well, he's not here, so we need to do something. When they get to Helena's room with the kids, they threaten her, and they have a knife to her throat. Which one is the boy? Because he's going to meet Jesus tonight. Surprisingly, she points out the boy. Now, this part for me was really surprising. Clearly, these people mean you harm. They intend to unalive at least one of your kids. And you're aware that the boy child is the legacy of your house. But then again, Helena's different. Earlier in the episode, she had said something to the effect of, what if he doesn't want to be king? To me, that meant that if and when her children are threatened, she'll give up the boy. I don't know where I was going with that, but the point is, she decided to save the girl and not save the boy. Heckle and Jekyll, they did to the little boy what they should have done to Aemond Targaryen. Now we have a situation where a father has lost his son. Even though we don't like Aegon and we don't care for him as king, it's still sad that one of his kids was unalived. That wasn't even the mark. Like, it should have been someone else, not that particular human. It was sad. So going back again to that night, Helena grabs the girl child, runs out of the room, and runs to her mother's room, bursts open the door, and Alicent she's at the rodeo. Oh, okay, that's a good way to say it. She's at the rodeo with Kristen Cole and giving him the ride of his life. Helena bursts in with the girl and she's like, oh my God, what's going on? And then Helena says, hey, the boy is gone. Alicent is just stunned. Like, what are you talking about? She literally had to pick out which one of her kids was going to go. She's in a state of shock. Now she's sharing this shocking news with her mom, who at that time had no intention of receiving bad news, let alone any news at that hour. She was still enjoying the rodeo. It was a very shocking end to the episode. This was a good episode, a good start. Again, a slow start, but definitely action-packed. Like, we saw a son for a son. It was the wrong son, but things happen. Mistakes are made. I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway, it was a good start to the season for us to see strategically what's going on in both houses, what the priorities are, how people are choosing to effectuate their vengeance. With that, I will end the video there. I hope you enjoyed my review synopsis of episode 1 of season 2 of House of the Dragon. Share, like, subscribe. Oh, leave in the comments an angel. That little boy didn't deserve that. And with that, I'll see you next time. Bye.